Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are back to normal recaps. It is the final round of the South African closed. We're not going to be looking at any games from the open section. That is simply because the title was decided yesterday. Once again, congratulations to Jan Karsten. We're still going to look at it because it has implications for the 2026 Chess Olympiad and South Africa's team going there. So still very important. And we will look at that in just a moment. However, we are turning our attention to the ladies section, where there were 4 players tied for the lead going into the final round. 2 of them are playing in this match. So, you've got to be careful. A win in here is very important because you eliminate one of your challengers. But if these 2 players draw, then all they need is for one of the other 2 leaders to pick up a victory and they are out of the title hunt. So we have Hayley now with the white pieces, Robyn, Julian, Klaasen with the black pieces. We have e4, c5, a Sicilian defense, but we get c4, which is kind of an anti-Sicilian of sorts because it kind of changes the game into almost like you can get like a weird French kind of thing. We had knight to c6, knight to c3, and they've basically got like an English. We get g6, g3, bishop g7, knight ge2, d6, bishop g2, bishop d7, short castles, queen c8. Now you play knight f4, stopping this potential plan of bishop to h3, but the position's level. The position is level for both players. We get knight to f6, we get d3. White's just allowing this hold to exist, but you have no choice really. Rook b8, a3, short castles, rook b1, knight into d4. But now we put our own knight here, knight f d5. And you know, there was this hole that you created. We get rook e8, now bishop to g5. Now we take, knight takes, and we play f6. Bishop drops back, and now e6. Kicks the knight out, and now we play e5. We give the whole back, but we've now, solidified our structure a little bit. We get b4. This option, by the way, to go like a bishop to h3 now exists again. But b4, striking on the queen side. We get b6. Very, very solid game. Very closed position. Takes. But now we get a4. And this knight is doing a great job. This knight can go here and also do a great job. The bishops are dead. For the moment, so we're trying to open lines, the rook, the bishop, we're trying to open lines as best we can. We get bishop to g4, and f3, very committal move, but now bishop d7. Now we get knight out to b5, looking perhaps for an exchange, and if you take me, I'm fine with that. So what do we get? We get bishop takes b5, we give up the bishop for the knight, a takes b5, and now a5. Now you have a choice here. You can take en passant, or you don't have to take it all, and you can play something else and try and say, well, this pawn can't go that far forward, I will win it. If you take here, you keep things open a bit. So we do get b takes a, but now queen takes a6. We chop the knight, but we're left with opposite colored bishops, both of whom are basically dead. They're hiding in behind the pawn structures. You've got to try and get them out. We get rook to b5, queen to a3, queen to b1, bishop f8, rook f2, queen a7, but rook a2. Queen to c7, queen to a1, bishop to c5. That bishop's kind of got out, but oh, my bishop might also be getting out in just a moment. King h8, rook a7, rook b7. We get rook a6, rook bb8, queen a4, rook e7, defending everything. The players are now approaching time trouble. They're a few moves away from getting to the 40th move. So, we get king f2, and rook b7. Oh, and rook b2, rook a7, rook a2, takes. We offer a queen trade. We accept the queen trade. Very difficult position this to break through, but maybe the white bishop can get out. It does. Bishop e6. King g7, king e2. b5. We don't take, we play bishop f5. Look at that. If you take here, I take. If you push, I take. But the question is, can you maybe push, take, and now try and get? No, the king will get there. The king will get there, so you can't. We play bishop e4, but now takes. Rook takes, and but that's it. Surely we're now opposite colored bishops. And yeah, unfortunately for both players on the 47th move, it was very tense there for a moment, but they make a draw because you just can't win this. Black is completely solid on the dark squares. White can't get in. This pawn will be blockaded forever. You can't win. So that gives a free hand to 2 players. The first one, Chloe Badenhorst. She probably had the easiest draw of the round, the final round, because she was playing Maverick, who is struggling at the bottom of the stand. She's only 1400 rated player, so, you know, she is punching well above her weight. E4, D6, we get a Pietz. D4, knight F6, knight C3, knight BD7, knight F3, E5, rook G1. This must be some prep, right? Surely you don't just play rook G1 over the board. Must be prep. Absolutely. By the way, if you hear like running water, it's raining outside. That's why. You know, H6, but G4. You play G5, that's fine. Bishop E3, you've made a mistake. White is now better. Look at that. Just a couple of moves. 8 moves, white's better. C6, long castles. What do you do here as black? Because you struggle to go long castles. It's going to take a lot of moves, and white's going to get a free hand. And you can't really go short castles. You know, you're opening yourself up to an attack. So we get queen c7, h4, knight f8, but white is completely winning. It's plus 2.3. We take, knight takes, oh look at that, tactics flying. I'm going to hit the bishop, and the bishop can't move. So we take again, but knight takes, queen takes. Ooh, knight g6. Obviously you can't take this, but now maybe we're blockading a little bit. Nope, plus 3.8. White's completely winning. We take again, knight takes, and pawn takes. And now h7. You have a problem, because this is coming. And if you take the pawn, this is still coming. So, you take the pawn, and this is coming. Check, you block, I go here. It's game. It's game over. Queen e7 is fine. I take, check. You take back with the queen, I get the rook in. I get the queen, and this is game over. Check, and check, and check, and we pick up the rook. You go for counterplay, my king is safe, and, yeah, Chloe Badenhorst delivers checkmate on move 31. Complete domination from her. Absolutely domination. Then we have Anzel Laubscher playing Alexa Amruni. Anzel had the white pieces. She began with already knight f3, d5, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, knight c6, short castles, e5. And this is kind of, I don't want to say it is, but it's very similar to what I would describe as a King's Indian defense. Just with the fact you've got the IM Caleb bishop, you've played d6 and e5 per se. But takes, you know, I would love to know why this isn't a pawn sacrifice. Like if I turn on the engine, why is this not a pawn sacrifice? Knight takes e5? Aha. That's how you get the pawn back. Because if you, let's say you take my knight, I would probably play queen takes, knight takes, and take here. And this would be equal. Okay. Anyway, bishop g4, pins the knight. So what we got is this exchange, but you don't take the pawn, you play bishop g4. You throw in that intermezzo, we go here, takes, queen e7, and now c3. Looks very strange. You might think that the knight was meant to go there. No, not necessarily. You can play long castles, but I played b4. That's what I wanted. I knew you were going that way. I'm launching a pawn attack, a pawn storm. I have to play for the win. We know Chloe has won. And the thing, right, when you're in the playing hall, these players will be walking around. Anzel would have seen that Chloe was winning. For the majority of her game, she would have seen that Chloe was winning. So to give herself any chance of winning this game, she has to go for it. Now, the engine thinks she's better. It's plus 1.6. She has to go for the win. A draw is almost a loss at this point because you're not going to win. a5, a3, knight d7, bishop e3. Her advantage continues to grow. It's now plus 1.9. Absolutely insane. We get rook df8, potentially preparing for black's own pawn storm this way. You got to be very careful. We get knight d2. You can see she spent some time, but she's getting all of this going. g6, queen e2, knight cb8, rook fb1. She's completely winning. It is plus 3. Her advantage continues to swell. So both players looking at each other, knowing they have to get the win. We get takes. Very bold. You're opening the g-file to your own king, but it is plus 3.7. And the reason is, this bishop is open. This bishop is open. This rook is open. And the queen is joining in just a moment. You do not have enough defense for this king. He's got 2 horses and 2 kind of yes men. Everybody else is kind of distracted looking this way. Just about everything in white's position is here. Like, I'm about to go here and take out one of these snipers or get in and sacrifice for the yes men. So knight to c4. We get f4. Now the bishop looks trapped, or it has to go into passivity. I take the bishop with check, and oops. Bishop c5 is a huge problem. You might say, wait, what's such a problem about it? Yes, I see that it's a skewer, but I play knight takes. Knight takes c5 is a mistake. Because I take back. And you take, and queen check, slide over, rook check, you come out, I give another check, and bishop d5 check. If you do not take the bishop, and for example, you run, you lose. It's mating 1 with g4. So, the only option to not take the bishop is to go here. At which point it's mating 12. Most of them involve like a queen h6. Cutting you here. Let's say queen 7. Queen e6 does the job. King here. And then probably just something like... I mean, you could take here and something give the check. There's like queen d6 kind of stuff to try and defend, but you can't. So a vile king hunt that started with this here takes, and most of us in this position, like you and me, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, bishop takes. You know, you get in here, bishop takes, you force the king out, and then, you know, you can follow up with like a rook check, but the king gets away. The king gets away. You have to do this in the right order. So takes, and now the best move in this position, according to the engine at least, is rook b5. Potentially preparing to double up. You hit the queen, you hit this pawn, but and then the best move is to take on b7. It's take on b7 with check, but queen g4 does the same job, and you would argue maybe in a practical sense is even better, because you force the king to go for a run. So you give him a check, you force the king out, and once the king gets forced out, mistakes will happen. And so Anzel Laubscher picks up her victory as well. And so we go to the standings and we wrap up the tournament as it looks like this. The women's section, after the 12 rounds, it went down to tie breaks. But your women's 2026 closed chess champion is Anzel Laubscher, 8 points. Tied with Chloe Badenhorst, but she had slightly better tiebreaks on tiebreak 2, 39.25. Tiebreak 2, of course, the Sonnenberg tiebreak variable 2026. Game points, forfeited games count. She was slightly better on that against Chloe Badenhorst, who also finishes on 8. 7.5 points each for Hayley Nell and Robyn Julian Klaasen. And then, very, very close, another point where tiebreaks did cause some importance was in 5th and 6th place, and I will show you why in just a moment. It is Caleb Levitan who picks up 5th place with 6 points ahead of Chismo Bashoma, and the reason that is important is because of this. South Africa's Chess Olympiad team, the ladies team heading for Samarkand, will consist of the top 5 players. So Caleb Levitan gets in on tiebreaks from this event. This effectively served as a qualifying event. They did the same with the open section. The top 5 players from there are going to represent South Africa. So here are our 5 players: Anzel Laubscher, Chloe Badenhorst, Hayley Nell, Robyn Klaasen, Sisekile Masango. Absolutely fantastic. Going into the open section, it was a very interesting day actually if you want to go look at the games, because we had Caleb Levitan defeating the champion Jan Karsten in the final round. It did not matter in the end. Caleb still finishes half a point behind him, so Jan Karsten secured number 1 spot yesterday. 8 points, 7.5 points for Caleb, and then no tiebreak drama needed to decide the top 5. Banyela Manyango, Charlton Mnyasa, and James Denham all on 6.5 points, securing the top 5 places, and that means that the men's team, or the open team, heading to the Chess Olympiad to Uzbekistan for Samarkand 2026 Chess Olympiad. International Master Jan Karsten, International Master Caleb Levitan, FIDE Master Banyela Manyango, Charlton Mnyasa, and James Denham. Absolutely incredible. This has been a phenomenal tournament, and congratulations to the 10 players who will be heading to Samarkand, and of course to Anzel Laubscher and Jan Karsten securing themselves first place in both events. Congratulations to them. This has been fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed the video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed the series. Tomorrow, I got a recap because it was not just a great day and a great weekend for these players. It was a great weekend for me as well, and the recap for my tournament will be out tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, let me know why in the comments down below.